Hello, hope y'all are doing well. It's November 12th. Today I'm here with Michael,
Up, guys?
and we're going to be talking about pretty much the overall weather for the next week, and even looking towards Thanksgiving week. We got some interesting stuff that could be happening this weekend. It's been a little bit since the last video, maybe a couple days, and now a couple months actually several months. Uh, but yeah, sorry about that. Uh, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So we're looking at the current temperature map for the eastern part of the country. Uh, Starting off down in Florida, looking pretty above average considering we already have temperatures approaching 80 in Orlando. Yeah, mid 80s south of Lake Okeechobee, uh, in areas of southern Florida. The southeast is actually a little colder because we have cold air damming in place. We have a lot of clouds, a lot of rain in some areas that have really needed rain, which is good. Uh, and actually, real quick side note, we're going to be seeing rain in that area this week as well, which we'll get into that later in the video. Uh, but yes, with current temperatures, we got middle 50s across lower 50s, my bad, across areas of like northern and central Georgia. Even the low country of South Carolina is still locked in, maybe even some upper 40s in some areas, and eastern North Carolina. Uh, Overall, mid 50s, even further west into areas of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. We got temperatures approaching 60 in some areas, but still relatively cool. Not above average, definitely below average for this time of year. Uh, the Great Lakes area, we can see we got 40s mainly, very consistently in the 40s. And the Northeast is a little colder, 30s for much of the interior Northeast. Some of the coastal areas are also in the 30s, but some of the coastal areas are getting up to near 40 already. But we even have some 20s in some areas in the Northeast, so pretty cold up there. Uh, High temperatures today in the east, we can see right here. You can blatantly see that pocket of cold air draped down across Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina there. Temperatures getting up near 80 maybe in areas of Louisiana, but still, like, this isn't too bad for this type of time of year. Like some 70s and stuff. That's not too far above average. That's still decent. The Northeast, I believe, is actually below average in some locations. To average. Uh, Highs generally in the 40s along the coast and lower 40s to 30s as you go into the interior part of the region. Great Lakes, we got 50s and 40s as you go further north. Uh, and look at South Florida. Look, high temperatures approaching 90 in some places, which is just crazy. Uh, I don't even think that's like far above average, but it's still pretty cool.
It's about 8 to 10 degrees above average.
About eight, okay,
Looking right now. Yeah. Southern Florida at least.
it's still pretty crazy if you think about it though.
But yeah, going to in November, 90 degrees.
Mhm. Yeah, and here's the central part of the country. We can see we got pretty mild across areas of Texas, uh, Kansas, and Oklahoma. I don't believe it's above average in these areas. I think this is about average. Uh, as you go further north, we can see this area up here. I know is a lot warmer than it was yesterday. We had a big warm up overnight. Uh, 40s stretching up into like along this warm nose. All the way up into eastern Montana, western and central North Dakota, western and central South Dakota. Still got some pockets of colder air up in Minnesota, and areas of northeastern South Dakota. I believe maybe we have snow on the ground in these areas still. That might be why, if I had to guess. Uh,
Could be.
High temperatures for the central part of the country today. Texas is a little colder. We have rain in some places down here, just helping to keep temperatures down. Further north, we got 70s. Wichita 68, Kansas City 66, Oklahoma City around 66 as well. Omaha 65. Further north into North Dakota and South Dakota, upper 50s to lower 60s, and even like for the northern tip of North Dakota is still cold, very cold, not very cold but cold, mid 40s. Same with northern Minnesota there. But yeah, so temperatures aren't too bad today. I mean, I know we're getting above average by a lot in some places, especially as you get up here. But
Yeah, for Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, you're pushing 15 to 20 degrees above average for highs today as of 1 p.m.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Looking at current temperatures in the west, so I think the west is consistently below average. If you want to check on that, I mean, I think this looks pretty cold for this time of
Actually,
year.
much of the entire West, excluding Northern Oregon, Washington and northern Idaho are 5 to 10 degrees above average.
Actually, that's pretty surprising. Okay. I guess it makes sense
Yeah.
because I mean these areas are really cold. Uh,
hmm
Kick it over how you pronounce Oregon. Okay. Southwestern, like like far southwestern part of Arizona and Southern California. Yeah, already pretty warm, 60s and 70s in some places. Uh, High temperatures today. Yeah, it's pushing about 85 in some areas of Arizona and Southern California. Uh, Large portion of California in the 70s. Uh, but I can see how it's above average actually now. Denver's 62 today. Uh, Las Vegas about 70. Seattle 53. Portland 54, I believe. I think that's Portland right there. Uh, if I'm wrong, that's my bad. So yeah, I mean, very not. I don't think it's like it's not really far above average, but it's still just slightly above average in many locations. Yeah, looking at temperature anomalies today, that's actually was the next topic. East Coast is below average, of course. Where we have that cold air damming in the southeast, and where we have the that cold air mass in place across the northeast. Southern Texas is also cold. We have that storm system down there, and then really the hot spot today is the northern plains, central like air part of the central plains, and looks like the general Midwest area as well. Very warm, very above average. We're looking at temperatures about 15, 17 degrees above average in some places. So very warm. Yeah, and once again, you can see in the west, temperatures mainly 5 to 10 degrees above average, and southern Florida there as well. Also pretty warm. Yeah, so the next thing we're going to talk about is a potential, not potential, but a Clipper system that's going to be affecting the Northeast tomorrow and Tuesday. So let's go ahead and get into that. We can see today very calm across the Northeast, of course. And tomorrow we start to see some snow moving in. This would be 5 p.m. tomorrow. We're looking at snow showers coming in areas of not upstate New York, uh, just really northern New York, uh, areas of Vermont, New Hampshire, and that continues throughout Monday night. We can see even some areas of Maine getting in on that, and just scattered snow showers on Monday night into Tuesday morning for much of the Northeast. Now, accumulations with this are not going to be significant, of course. We're not going to be seeing big accumulations in any way, but we'll be seeing maybe some spotty accumulations. Wouldn't be surprised if some areas pick up maybe an inch, maybe even some higher elevation spots getting up to 2 to 3 inches potentially. But some areas all the way into Maine, the HRRR is you're getting a good dusting of snow to a half inch, which is that's pretty good for this time of year. Or not really, that's not really good for this time of year actually. It's more like what we would see in October maybe, but
It's not
uh,
bad.
it's,
Caribou, Maine, their average first snowfall is November 15th, so they're just further
yeah,
south getting a bit.
yeah. So it's not bad.
Just a cool little snow event.
Yeah, looking at the NAM 3 because it goes out a little bit further, we can see that snow tapers off Tuesday afternoon. Uh, and looking at accumulations on the NAM 3 for a little comparison, let's see. Yeah, very similar. Some spots getting a dusting to a half inch, and then some areas in northern New York and Vermont, some higher elevations seeing 2 to 3 inches. And NAM 3 actually has some spots in the higher elevation seeing like 6 inches of snow. Not like 100% sure on that, but I wouldn't say it's out of the question. But
I'd
look,
say the general rule for this is if you want to see more than an inch or two of snow, you have to go above 2,000 feet in New York, Vermont, New Hampshire.
yeah, that's it. It's good. But yeah, now looking at the continental U.S., we're looking at the entire country now, of course, as you can see. Uh, Going to be having two things to watch to start the week. So tomorrow we can see the storm system that's going to be tracking along the south. We play this out. Tuesday here continues. We're going to be seeing a lot of rain in areas that really need the rain. And then we look at the storm system come next weekend, which is what we're going to be talking about in just a second. But also we're going to be having a little bit of an active start to the week in the northwest, which let's go ahead and talk about. So looking at just precipitation across uh, the northwest off the HRRR here. So let me see. 00Z would be 4 p.m. This is 4 p.m. today in Washington and Oregon. We're looking at pretty much this first band of precip coming in, some higher elevation snow in areas of Washington. And yeah, we can see throughout tonight and into tomorrow. It doesn't make it far inland at all. It kind of actually doesn't make it dies pretty quickly, but we do see some pretty good snow in some areas and a good bit of rain. Total snowfall accumulations with this are about, let's see, yeah, maybe some areas in the higher elevation seeing up to like a foot to 2 feet of snow, which isn't terrible. Uh, but yeah, it doesn't. Areas of like eastern Washington, eastern Oregon see very little. I'm pretty sure they. I don't even think we see rain in those areas. Yeah, practically no rain either. But a decent little rain event too, maybe a half inch to an inch in some places along the coast. So pretty nice. Now talking about the south. Once again, this is today. We're looking at showers and rain just across southern Texas. And throughout tonight, this spreads slowly north and northeast, with some showers even getting up near maybe the Dallas-Fort Worth area by tomorrow morning. Uh, However, the heavy rain is focused down. This is tomorrow afternoon now, by the way. This is 2 p.m. Central Time. That heavier rain is limited down towards areas like Houston, Corpus Christi, but it's still down there. Precipitation totals by let's see. Precipitation totals by Tuesday morning. I mean, look at that, 3 to 4 inches of rain across southern Texas. So that's very good to see. Even up towards Houston, we're already seeing a half an inch, and this doesn't go out as far as it's still raining in some of these places. But yeah,
This is going to
so
be highly beneficial. Almost the entire state of Mississippi, Louisiana, and southern Texas are in extreme to exceptional drought.
yeah. So I mean, this is gonna be really good. I think that this might be the first rain in a very long time in some of these places. So that's good to see.
Yeah, Jackson, Mississippi. Here's the stat. I think 216 days now without an inch of rain.
Wow. Okay. That's like
Yeah,
that's all the way back to like March.
basically, yeah. It's very dry.
Yeah, a little further east now. We're looking at those regions a little more now. Actually, to get Louisiana, Mississippi, good rain in those places on the GFS Tuesday and into Wednesday. And this is the storm system just moves very slowly, with the heaviest rain focused right along the Gulf Coast, but then stretching inland a little bit. Total like let's take a look at total precip real quick. Yeah, areas like Jackson picking up about 2 inches of rain, but it was such a wide swath, 2 to 4 inches for much of the Gulf Coast state, like much of the southern parts of the Gulf Coast states. Even some areas getting up to 6 inches of rain in some like localized areas. Let's see what's next now.
Yeah, I mean, Euro in the GFS for Panhandle of Florida, southern Louisiana, even southern Mississippi, Alabama, hinting at maybe up to 6 inches of rain for
Yeah,
a lot of those regions.
yeah. The area is very similar to the GFS with like Mobile getting 7 inches. Uh,
Yeah,
Areas of the Florida Panhandle picking up 6 inches. Uh, Such a large amount of rain. Jackson also gets once again like 2 to 3 inches of rain, so I think that's a pretty good bet there. The
mhm.
rain doesn't make it. We don't see the quite the like that intensity of rain further east in the areas of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. However, these areas saw rain yesterday. That was pretty good, pretty beneficial as well. So those areas kind of already got a little bit. So that's not much of a major issue. Some of these areas are also in pretty significant drought. So I believe north of this line in Georgia. Uh, let's talk about what this does once it heads off the East Coast, because that's when things are going to start to get interesting. We're going to be looking at a potential nor'easter. So we go out to Friday evening. We have a cold front draped down across the pretty much the east here, bringing showers and rain areas of the northeast. No snow actually, and really anywhere in the northeast from this. And then all the way down into the almost the southeast. We almost see rain in the southeast from that cold front. Not quite though, not quite. But then, yes, low pretty much quickly intensifies. Goes from 1,002 to about a 977 in less than 24 hours. So it does bomb out, I believe, yeah. And we end up seeing a good bit of snow across Maine as this happens because we have cold air in place. Even across like areas in northern New Hampshire too, in northern Vermont we see snow. And then on the backside we have a little bit more that comes in, I believe, with a clipper. Yeah. The Euro is very similar to the GFS with this as well, which is kind of interesting. It seems like we're starting to get more and more consistent with this storm system actually happening. Maine picks up a pretty good snow there from that, and it does also bomb out, I believe. Yeah, yeah, 1001 to 978, so almost. It's 1 millibar short. Now, I wouldn't take a look at exact snowfall accumulations from this, but you can kind of get an idea of what we'll be looking at. And yeah, Maine really picking up. Maine really being the hot spot there, Eastern Maine, on both the GFS and the Euro, with some pretty decent accumulations.
Yeah, I think if you want to see snow from this, you're gonna have to go to Maine, maybe the higher elevations of Vermont, New Hampshire, but that's the only spot that's really gonna have the cold air come down during this precipitation.
Yeah, it's still very, very warm for much of the east, which actually leads us into what we're talking about now. We're going to be looking at pretty much what we're going to be looking at temperature-wise for this week as we go into Thanksgiving week. Uh, so this is, of course, tomorrow. We're looking at a very warm pattern for like the entire U.S. The only exception is the East Coast and the a little sliver of like the very deep south part of the country. Like not the deep south of region. I just mean like the far south, southern and central Texas, like southern Louisiana, far southern Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. A little bit of that cold air damming still remaining in place over in the areas of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Uh, Tuesday, the Northern Plains is still burning. Look at that, 25 degrees above average. What are these actual temperatures? Yeah, we're getting up near like into the 60s in Minnesota. So very warm.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. The GFS ensemble for the temperatures going through basically from really basically from now for South Dakota, Nebraska, North Dakota, they're in 5 to 20 degrees above average until the 21st, 22nd. I mean, this is staying. It's not going anywhere
Yeah.
for a bit.
hmm And it does eventually spread into the east as we go towards November 17th, which is Friday this week. The entire country is above average, uh,
Mhm.
which isn't. That's not really good. Saturday we have a little bit of a cool down in the east because we have a that cold front come through with the nor'easter. The cold front that's associated with that first low brings a little bit of cold air behind it. Not even enough to like actually bring below average temperatures. Just a little, maybe some average temperatures in the backside of that. Wow, it's crazy. Uh, Northern plains are still burning. The southwest and like the west is not too bad. The west is still like kind of below average in some areas too, slightly above average. And then as we go towards Thanksgiving week, okay, so Tuesday and Wednesday, we see cold enter the country pretty much from the northwest and Montana here, and it doesn't make it. The GFS ensembles doesn't have it really making it to the east that well. It's very uncertain if it'll even make it to the north or to the east, or like when it will make it to the east. But it does have it making it there pretty much Saturday. We see some very below average temperatures for areas of like Montana, Wyoming, the western part of the Dakotas, Nebraska. This is Wednesday afternoon. Actual temperatures here we can see are very cold, 20s, teens in some areas, so very below average. Actually, that's about 15 degrees below average.
That's an ensemble mean for 350 hours out. I mean, this could be a pretty good pattern flip as we go into late November after Thanksgiving for much of the U.S.
Yeah, for much of the U.S. too. Once that actually gets into the east. Now the European ensembles uh, also have that pretty much. We can see coming in Tuesday and Wednesday that big cool down for areas of the northern plains, areas of the high like the northern high plains, and areas of the northwest. The European ensembles has it really not making it to the east at all. It's very yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard to break down that ridge in the east. It's going to be very hard to break that down. So we'll have to see as we get closer to it. We'll have to see what happens in the way of that. But right now, it is a good bet. Thanksgiving week will be. It's going to be fairly warm across the east, I'd say, but definitely above average from the northeast down into the pretty much most of the east, northeast down to the southeast, Great Lakes, and then this is Thanksgiving afternoon we're looking at right now, and the west will be below average with like a really below average temperatures across that little sliver right there. Uh, And yeah, we can take a look at the EFS at the same time. Very similar with the East being above average Thanksgiving afternoon, and then that one spot that's just really cold, with much of the central U.S. and the West being below average. So yeah, Thanksgiving week
You
is. Go ahead.
If you want to look at one more ensemble, the Canadian, it's also showing that cold blast come through just after Thanksgiving. So that's 3 out of 3 of them showing this. So like, I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, the Canadian's a lot, a lot colder. Let's just say that.
Yeah, very cold. I mean, it covers the entire U.S. besides Florida. I mean, it really just plows through that ridge come basically Thanksgiving Day. It just kind of knocks it down over the next 2 days after that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, we'll see. We'll see. The Canadian compared to the European and the GFS is the least credible model for sure. It doesn't have the best history, but as of right now, I'd still bet the East is going to be warm Thanksgiving Day. Uh, and the but yeah, we'll see as we get closer, like details with that. Now let's talk
Mhm.
about. I want to talk about severe weather real quick. We can't go video without talking about that. Not really severe weather. Also, just talking about like our thing, like a Thanksgiving week storm system that we've been watching. Now a lot has changed with this. At one point, this was like a massive comet head storm system with like snow all the way down to like northern Georgia and northern Alabama. But then one run in the GFS changed that. And now it's a terrible, terrible storm system that brings no snow anywhere. But yeah, we see that come together Sunday and Monday across areas of the southern plains. It really just brings like our low is about 1,010 millibars, so it's really insignificant. But it does bring some beneficial rain once again to areas of the deep south. Uh, Looking at 500 millibar winds, actually yeah, the new GFS does go out far enough. We see that maybe we could see some. I wouldn't rule out the chance of maybe some severe weather across areas of like the deep south as we go towards Thanksgiving week. That's kind of the area I would outline, just the far southern part of the country. Looking at the European, that's one thing I want to do real quick. See what it has with that.
The yeah, the latest GFS is it's definitely come down on that threat, but I definitely still watch it there.
Yeah, the Europe,
Because again,
The European still like actually when it comes to that threat is actually still pretty decent. Definitely just looking at this, you can tell. Looking at 500 millibar
oh
winds.
yeah, yeah, it definitely strengthens a lot quicker. I mean, you're looking at a negatively tilted trough moving into Mississippi, Alabama, with some definitely some severe weather and ahead of that, whether it be straight line winds or tornadoes. We'll have to see as that comes closer.
Yeah, but
More details.
this is still over a week out, so
Yeah.
not gonna go there. But definitely, I wanna. I mean, if we're gonna see severe weather Thanksgiving week, I believe really the hot spot's gonna pretty much be this area here, kind of where we normally see severe weather in November, very like historically. So nothing abnormal there. Uh, let's see. The operational European actually had something kind of interesting. I'm curious. Is there cold air on the backside of this? Yeah, there's a little bit of like cold air, but I don't think that's gonna clear the east. But yeah, it's still willing to bet that the east will be above average Thanksgiving Day and much of Thanksgiving week. Yeah, look at that cold blast coming in there. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, that's all
The
we've
G-
got. Wait, what were we saying?
I was just saying the GFS has it as well. So again, severe weather, cold blast, a lot to look forward to come Thanksgiving week, and have to keep an eye on it.
Yep. But yeah, that's all we've got for y'all today. I do plan on uploading a lot more consistently now. One reason I haven't uploaded in so long is because I didn't have a mic actually. That might sound stupid, but I broke my headset on accident and I didn't buy one for like 5 months. Uh, but yeah, now I've got one, so it's a lot easier because you can't film a video if you don't have a mic. That's not possible. So that's 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 why. But yeah,
A bit
now
of a
that's good.
necessity.
What?
Bit of a necessity there.
Yeah, just a bit. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all all have an excellent Sunday, good rest of your weekend, and I'll see y'all next time.